Hello and welcome to this edition of the Angels and Destiny show. Now, why is this show called this, you may ask? So I tell you. The accepted meaning of angel is messenger, and the accepted meaning of destiny is to make, firm, establish. So my guests and I bring you messages to establish what you need to know in the present. Also, I like working with angels and the calmness they bring. In a moment, I will introduce you to my wonderful guest, Anne Jirsch, an author, entrepreneur, and leading world pioneer of future life progression. But before that, I would like to say thank you for all of you watching this show live or at a later date, as it means a lot to me to connect with like-minded women. Now, if you've never met me before, my name is Ray, and I help women at a crossroads in their life heal their past, create their future, transform their present, so they can take control of their destiny in the here and now. I'm the founder of Radiant Angel Energy, and I use Angelic Reiki, future life progression, past life regression, meditation, angel cards, and hypnosis to help women who feel lost get clear on their destiny. I've also created a transformational journey to help you take charge of your destiny. Each episode of this show will cover various themes of your journey, a mini guided meditation or angel card reading with the wisdom of my wonderful guests, like today's guest, Anne Jirsch, who will be imparting her wisdom about how you can create your future to help you with your calling, your passion, to be of service in the world and make that your reality. She is a London-born professional psychic, as well as a leading pioneer of future life progression, who is highly sought after and has worked with heads of industry, politicians, celebrities, and those who want to move their life forward. She is an internationally best-selling author, and her books include Instant Intuition, The Future is Yours, Cosmic Energy, and Create Your Perfect Future. And I know there's a lot more books in the pipeline. She has appeared on radio and television shows around the world, as well as running sellout workshops and seminars. So without further ado, hello, Anne, and welcome to the Angels and Destiny show. How are you today?
I'm really good, and thank you for inviting me on, and congratulations on your show. I'm hearing good things.
Thank you very much. Now, before we get into this fascinating conversation, then whether you're watching live or the recording, please hit the like or love button, as I just love watching hearts and thumbs flashing across the screen. And if you're watching this on my YouTube channel, then give it a thumbs up and subscribe to it so you can get updates on all the recordings. You can also ask questions, leave comments and thoughts, as both Anne and I want you to be part of this conversation. So please don't be shy. So Anne, why don't you tell us more about yourself and how future life progression can help women create their future in the present?
Wow, where do I start? It's funny because I actually avoid women-only things, or women. It's a weird thing, and I tell you why. Because I spend a lot of my energy in the future. I'm looking into the future where things are not so defined. You know, I've been saying a lot lately, I don't care. And I got that from the future. It was interesting. Melania Trump actually had that on the back of her coat, probably for completely different reasons to me. But it was, I don't care what your sexuality is, or what your religion is, or what colour you are. I don't care. I just see you. And that's one thing I get from the future. But the weird thing is, I've now ended up this week doing lots of women's groups, and I've actually got to be up at the crack of dawn and get up to Henley to do a talk. So the universe is going, come on, don't kind of put yourself, you know, open up to this.
Yeah.
And the other thing that's happened this week that's really weird was there's been a sort of a bit of an upset. Young girl in a particular profession got a bit upset by a guy in a particular profession who was really inappropriate. And she couldn't say that in general. But there's a ladies only group for that professional, and she mentioned it, and the support she got was brilliant. She wouldn't have been able to say it anywhere else. So yeah. It's the only female only group I'm in, and it's really nice. So I'm kind of, maybe my thinking's changing.
You never know. It's the feminine energy coming in.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it really is. So future life progression, what can I tell you with this? We use it for so many different things, but one of the things I'm working on a new book, and one of the things I mention in the new book is, say for career, the book's about the future of work. Whatever you do, it will change. I don't care if you're a hairdresser, CEO of an IT company, you run a restaurant, a therapist, whatever you do, it will change. And you need to be able to anticipate the future. And yet the problem we have these days is we have too much choice. We're absolutely swamped with choice. And that kind of messing people up. They're jumping from one thing to the other. We all are. I do it. We jump from this, we start reading that book, we go on that course, then we jump to this. And we need to, you find successful people, they hone what they do. They hone it. And they kind of end up with their niche. It's not that they might not use different tools, but they end up with their niche. And often we find out niche by just who shows up. You go, why do I get lots of men that have had that happen, or women that have had that happen? They kind of find us in a way. So one of the things we do with FLP, we glimpse the future. Sometimes people say, oh, is it wishful thinking? And I often have to explain, do you know, things have happened that I've seen that I wouldn't have wished for. Good things, but I wouldn't have even dreamt of them. I didn't even know the concept existed on some things. We actually do see the future. That's the core bit. We actually do see the future. And by going into the future, we can sort of say, oh, yeah, I stayed with that job and didn't turn out very well. We can look at the options and just say, oh, I took that course. That was great. That one was a waste of money. So the minute we actually see where we are at 5 years and what's worked and what hasn't, we've got hindsight. Hindsight from the future is just amazing. So we can weigh up. And the other thing we can do is actually, you work a lot energetically. We can connect energetically with the best bits of the future. And that's when it gets interesting, because we bring that energy back. That's what got me with FLP, because it meant that things started to happen really quickly. So things where we'd struggle and we might go down a few wrong roads before we got to the right road, it started to happen quickly. That interested me. So we look at love, we look at career, we look at property. I mean, 3 times I've moved into properties that I previously saw. I had no idea where they were. No idea. So that's another thing you have to get right. So we got lots of uses, but to me, a lot of it is jumping beyond current limitations. We're trying to manifest, and we sit there and talk to the universe, and on a bit of paper, and go, oh, you know, I want that. But we got our current limitations around us. We jump forward to a time where you've done so much better, where you've gone beyond whatever's blocking you now, and that starts to make things happen.
It's really fascinating that you can actually do that and go into the future and see what's happening and bring that energy back. I mean, I've done it myself, and it is actually really interesting doing that. Which is something I like. So, you know, if we've got Sieta Jones who's saying hi, Anne and Ray. Hello, Sieta. Nice meeting you. So if the people, because obviously there are some people that go, oh my God, why would I want to see the future? Why would I want to see the future? I you know, what can the future really help? You know, how can it really help me? How can I bring that energy back? You know, is it my life predestined? I mean, but what would you sort of like say to people that might think that?
Yeah, I've had people say that, ask me that. Not often, but I have had a few people ask me that, and I've just I don't think life's set in stone. I don't think we'd be robots, wouldn't we? If everything was predetermined. I'm so sure some things are, and I think we've all had it where somebody's come into our life, and the minute we've seen them, we've thought, well, we're going to end up friends, we're going to end up partners, or something. You know, the minute you meet them, I'm sure some things are destiny, but I think a lot is under our control. So it's funny, because where I do readings, but people will come to me and they'll say, what's going to happen? And I tell them what I've got in front of me, and I go, but you are in control. You are. I've actually got a woman that's got the hump at the moment. She's really got the hump. I'm not used to my clients having the hump, but this one's got the hump. I saw a meeting somebody, and I described him, you know, and she said, you didn't tell me when. And I go, well, it's up to you. You can block it. You know, you can mess about. You know, it's like, if you never leave the house, how's he going to find you? You know, just some of it's up to you, lady. And some people don't like to hear that. But I think really, to me, looking into the future helps shape a better future, and that's the point for me. I want to be a bit more in control of my future. Because if we don't, we just end up, you stick a job, you don't, and all of a sudden they make you redundant and you've put 20, 30 years hard work in. If you could catch a glimpse of that and think, oh, but if I take that training, that's the next thing that's going to be big. I'll stay there for a while, but then I can go to the other company that is going to survive, but these are the skills I'm going to need. You can get much better direction and not waste time. I mean, we all hate wasting time, don't we?
Oh God, yes, we really do hate wasting time. And again, it is, as you said, you actually still have control, because if you don't want to go down that route that you've seen in the future, then you don't follow the advice that you're actually given to actually go down there.
Yeah. You know, you've got total control. But for me, I mean, maybe once, occasionally twice a year, I'll get one of the practitioners to take me forward. And I look at all sorts of things. But often I get them to say, what countries are going to really work for me? Because I get invited to a lot of places, but it's really interesting when you just say, oh, I'm going to be there, I'm going to be there. It's really cool when somebody will call me up and say, I don't suppose you'd come to my country and do a training. I go, I've been waiting for you. You're taking your time.
Yeah, for those that don't know, Anne spends a lot of her time traveling. She's always sort of like, I'm on an airplane now, going here, going there. And how do you find time to sort of like have your home life as well as sort of like traveling off everywhere?
Well, that's when you come to the woman questions. This is I try not to waste time on sort of, I don't know, polishing the silver type stuff. Do you know what I mean? It's just, I've got a really good cleaner. I've got a good ironing lady. You know, I eat out. I don't eat out in expensive places, but I might eat out, get a takeaway. I try not to get bogged down with the polishing the silver and ironing the curtains or whatever it is our mothers used to do. My mum used to iron tea towels and pillowcases, you know. They did. And, you know, they'd make all this food that take hours to make. I think we have to kind of step back, and I try not to get bogged down. One of the things I think affects women in businesses, we're not as good at saying no. And I think that gets in the way of our career. We're also observing the difference between men and women. Men are better at asking for what they want. And I've really noticed them two things. So I've tried to get better at those. Tried to get better at saying no and speaking up and asking for what I want. Madonna said that. She said most people don't get what they want because they don't ask for it. And I found that interesting. So now and again, I will say, oh, can I ask for something yesterday? And it was a bit cheeky, but they gave me it.
But that's the thing. If you don't ask, you don't know. And I think as women, we are kind of like we still sort of like hide behind that little shadow thing of, what if someone says no? you know how's, you know, what they're going to think worse of me, you know, because I've asked them. And we do kind of like have to get out of that mindset that if they say no, they say no. It's not about us personally. It's just that they don't want or they can't help us at a particular time.
Men don't worry. They don't worry about asking. And if you say no, they actually keep on. I mean, I've had male clients that will keep phoning till I answer. Not many women will do that. In fact, one, I won't name him, but he is well known, phoned me once. He'd been phoning for about over an hour. Every 10 minutes he phoned. In the end, I answered it, and he said, "You okay?" And I went, "Actually, I'm on my way to a funeral." And he went, "Oh, I'm so sorry. Oh my God, can I just ask you a question without missing a bit?" I said,
I like that. So still ask the question, even though you said, "I'm on my way to the funeral." Yes, but.
So it's lovely for me. I mean, I do have a lot of female clients. I've got a lot of male clients. But it's lovely for me because I saw and see my spiritual teacher. This is many years ago. She passed away in the late 80s. She was the most incredible woman I ever met. I went to her once, and I'd been agreed to do something and found out it was nothing like what they said, and it was really cheeky. But I'm one of them people that if I agreed to do something, I'd do it.
Yeah.
And I really didn't want to go. It was a long way away. It wasn't at all what it said, so I felt a bit cheated. So I went over to see her, and I've been going, what do you think? I went, she said, what you've done, you've come here to get permission to say no. She said, you're an adult, you don't need permission, but we do. And I just get that with my clients. They'll come and they'll start telling me something and say, you've come for permission. You know you don't need permission. You want somebody to say to you, don't do it, or I've changed my mind, or whatever, you know. So with a lot of my female clients, sometimes I'm giving them permission to do what they want, or we're talking about it and they light up because deep down they want to do something, but they don't really believe they can, or, you know, they've had family, and the amount of females that have been to me where the parents are going, oh, you don't want to lift your head too far up, you know, you'll get your head shot off. You lift. They don't say it to their sons, but they say it to their daughters. I got, so it's naughty, isn't it? One of my clients, she's a well-known comedian, and her mother used to say, you do keep doing all that television stuff. Nobody will marry you. No, nobody will want you. You can't do all that. It will really put the men off. And it's quite surprising how these messages are still out there.
Yeah.
They're still out. She's only, what is she, early 40s. The messages are still going on out there. So working with women is different from working with men, definitely. But I think with women, I think with the FLP, we take them forward to their future where they've done it, where they're there, and they found their niche. And we anchor them. We get them to connect with that energy and feel what it feels like. Once you can feel it, it's different. You change. You feel better for it. Once you've connected to it and you've felt what it feels like, they actually start to stand different.
Yeah.
Dance seems to come into it a lot. They stand different. You see their eyes, their head comes up. You know, the stance changes. And I know on one occasion somebody took me into the future. I was on this nice big stage and I thought, oh, this looks good. And I was wearing a navy suit. The next day I went out and bought a navy suit. It kind of was a symbol for me, you know, it's kind of like a nice symbol. But I put that suit on and I'll go, and I flum the business, you know. And when you feel it, it starts to happen. So once I started working with FLP, I remember when I started working with FLP, I had my little office in Slough, near Slough Trading Estate. It was next to a bedding centre, and the building was practically falling down. I mean, it was really chaotic. In fact, we had a hypnotherapist in the next room, and now and again, people would park under his window with loud music blaring. That was a mess, and you would look round before you went out to your car overnight. It wasn't the best place. So I'm there, and I've got my local clients, and I started working with FLP, and within months, I mean, the office is in Bray, which was a bit nicer, understatement. You know, I booked deal, everything started to open up, and I think it's because something changed on an energetic level. Things started to change. All of a sudden, I started getting invited to things where I'm going, have they mixed me up with somebody else? It even happened, I went to an art thing in London. It was Gilbert and George. And I went I love Gilbert and George. Women of a certain age love Gilbert and George. I went to their exhibition, and this woman, and she must have mixed me up with somebody else. She come up and said, Wednesday night, we've got an audience. We've got an audience with Gilbert and George. Would you like to come along? And I went, yeah, sure. And she gave me a pass. And I'm thinking, I got there, it was all famous people or journalists. And I thought, I don't know if she thinks but this thing started to happen when I was working with FLP. So it's as if something changed, and it all started to open up for me. Yeah.
And it's absolutely amazing, you know, when you sort of like say, oh, we've got George Matos Jr. Hello, George.
Yep. Hi, George. How are you?
Nice to meet you. If you're watching this, if you've got any questions, then please put the questions on, because Anne and I would love to answer them, especially Anne today. So also by you going into the future life, and you seeing yourself in that navy suit, feeling the energy, and you actually went out and brought a navy suit.
Yeah, it was kind of a symbol. Yeah, it was a sort of symbol for me. I thought, that's one thing I can do. I've actually got 3 navy suits, and that's a bit ridiculous, but my wardrobe is very boring. You open it, it's grey, navy, white, and a little bit pink. That is it. It's very, very boring.
Maybe you need to have more pink if you're dealing with more women.
Maybe, because it's that way. I've got to talk to ladies, and it is changing. So yes, the other thing I've done with FLP is I do this myself as well. Go forward into the future, and find something we've done that is, say I go forward and download my future books. I've taken an artist forward, and he'd been locked for ages, and he's just sat there with this huge pad and a pen. And for 2 hours, I was just, what can you see? What's there? And he was drawing. It just looked like he was scribbling for ages. When we got to the end, he said, I think I've just scribbled. There was words, there was a camera, there was video stuff, there was a sculpture. It just opened it all up. And we knew the video was, and this was in Cape Town. We actually got straight in the car, went to the top of Table Mountain and started interviewing people just on his phone. It was just hilarious.
Wow.
So go forward and download your future book. Many people do that. Or your movie, or genius idea. I work with people, help people to find their genius idea.
That, you know, it's absolutely amazing. And it's not just going sort of like 5-10 years into the future, is it?
Yeah.
Sometimes you can actually go into your distant future to see what you were doing then and bring that back.
Yeah, I take people into their next lifetime and into their far distant future self. And that was a big one for me, meeting my far distant future self. That's more than 1,000 years. The energy is so good there. And I think that's when you come back, when you start saying, I don't care, because all the stuff that we worry about now is so irrelevant in the future.
Yeah.
It's an interesting one. Connecting, that's one of the things we do, is connect people to their far distant future self. It's almost as if our far distant future selves wants to work with us,
right,
to help us so that we sort things out for them in the future, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
The other thing I'm curious about, and I haven't got a definitive answer, but when I've taken people to meet their far distant future self, they often describe themselves as how they describe themselves, how you describe often an angel.
Okay.
And I often wonder is sometimes when people see an angels, is it their far distant future self? And could you have a better guide than your far distant? Your future self is going to be your best guide. But I also take people near up, say your next lifetime, what are you doing? Because what you're doing, who's around you, could be a very good clue as to things you need to be working on now.
Yeah.
You know, so if you're big in sort of, say, with angelic work in your future lifetime, perhaps that's a big clue to your work now.
Yeah. That's that, you know, that's a possibility as to what you could possibly be in the future. You know, if you're in I don't know 100 years, 200 years time, you're busy doing energy healing with crystals or something like that.
Yeah.
You know, you can come back and go, actually, I've always fancied working with crystals, so maybe that's what I should be doing now.
Yeah, that's exactly what we get. People say, I've been wobbling between these 3 different paths, but I clearly saw in the future I'm working with such and such, and then they know their way forward.
Yeah.
They know what they're meant to be doing now, and it leads them forward. The other thing that's nice about going into your next lifetime is people you've lost. Maybe they'll be in your next life. If you've had past lives with people, then maybe you have future lives with them. And, you know, the thing is, when we lose somebody, it's so final. It really beats us up to be able to go forward and be with somebody again. I've seen people that are just grief-stricken, can't move on, just go, I'm all right, I'll see them again. It's really, they still miss them, but they're fine. They know there'll be another time. And that's been wonderful. And I don't think I'm going to be the person to develop that. I think one of the practitioners will work with that, because I think that's a book in itself.
Yeah. And that's the amazing thing about you is that all the practitioners that come and train under you, they all, and I include myself in that, as obviously I've trained with you, is that everyone kind of like finds their own. It's like coming and learning future life progression, and that it kind of like is a way of you're going into a niche to have a speciality that's going to help other people. That you personally, you're not going to be able to cover every single topic in the whole world.
Exactly.
For future life. Yeah.
That was a big revelation. It was about 4 years ago, and my second book started, The Future Is Yours, really started to boom, and I was getting so many invitations. I thought, I love jumping on planes. And suddenly you meet all these people and going to places, and you find yourself in all sorts of places. But I thought, I can't be everywhere and I can't develop everything. And I just thought, why am I even thinking that? Because FLP does attract some incredible people.
Yeah.
I mean, way beyond other modalities, it attracts amazing people. And I said, I don't need to. Some of them can be trainers. Some one of the others. I mean, it's like, say, working with children. I have developed some techniques to work with kids. It works incredibly well. But I don't think I'm the person to lead that. I think I'll help, but I don't think I'm the person to lead it. Partly because, say, if we wanted to take it into schools, forget it. I've got expelled twice. I mean, I've got no credibility in this. It's true. I've got no credibility at all in the school system. But we've got Carol, we've got John, we've got a whole bunch of people that are actually highly qualified in that field, and they're really clever. I mean, I think about 9 of the practitioners have written their own books. I mean,
wow.
Yeah, it's really, and they're getting television gigs I can't get. I'm going, hang on a minute. It's really extraordinary. I mean, they boom, because they're working with the future energy. They've got that. They kind of get it. We're lucky because people that come and train with us, they get it, so they're easy to work with. And it just gives them that trigger that they're on.
Yeah.
They start to open up, find their niche, find out what they're meant to do, how they do it. It might be a book, it might be their show or whatever, self show now. And it for me watching, it's just like, wow, what's also lovely is the backup from each other is extraordinary. That they really back each other up.
Yeah, that is, you do sort of like when you do it, you do meet some good people, and it is everyone's helping each other, and it's not like, okay, I must do this and I don't want anyone else helping me, I don't want to share stuff, and that it is like, let's all just share the information, because everyone, 2 people may do the same thing, but they're appeal to different types of audience.
Yeah, and there's big work out there as well. There's plenty for everybody. But I thought I made a decision to make this more of a collaborative, because I think it is the way of the future, is to make things more. There's a whole heap of evidence. I mean, I'm reading massively at the moment for my new books. I've got to be really on top of my subject. And there's a huge amount of evidence that collaboratives are working. When you've got the old structure of companies where you've got the CEO at the top and head office, blah, 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 they're failing, and the ones that are more of a collaborative work. And I knew I couldn't do it all myself. I'm not getting any younger, and I just thought, there's all that talent. There's so much talent with you FLPers that I thought, let's bring you guys up. Let's bring you guys up. Let's bring you up. Let's get you out there. And it's worked. It has totally worked. Brilliant backup from each other. Really supportive to each other. It's worked really well. So I'm really glad that connected with me when I started connecting with my far distant future self. She was in my ear just going, come on, you're not going to do it, or look what that person's good at, look what that person's good at. And they bring everybody else up. They help them make a name for themselves. Plenty for everyone, isn't there?
Oh, there is absolutely plenty of everyone. Now, we could literally go on forever with this conversation, and I definitely would have to have you back so we can continue this, because it is, well, once we start talking about future life stuff, it just starts going and going and going and going, and that. But obviously we only have a certain time slot, so we'll have to do that. So have you got one, before I sort of like close the show, have you got one little nugget of help or advice that you could give to, as this is for women, although men are quite happy to take the advice as well, because I always think it's nice for both, that could help them for their future self?
Yeah, okay. I was round with a friend one day, and I was waiting for her to get ready. She's never ready on time. And I opened a book at random, and it was Felix Tennis. I've never heard of him. Apparently, he was a big shot entrepreneur. And I just opened it at random, and I read this sentence. It said, if you want to do well in life, you need to be prepared to make a fool of yourself. And not only do you need to be prepared to make a fool of yourself, you have to be prepared to do it publicly. I mean, that is what holds us back, because we get your sister-in-law, your brother-in-law going, oh, that thing you do, no, you know, and somebody else going, oh, is it not working? You know, you get all this, it's usually people closest to us. I have noticed with the big shots, they don't worry. So get out there, make a fool of yourself. Who cares? Just go do it. You know, fall on your face a few times. That'd be my advice. Just steam out, put energy into things. Sieta, you should get her on, because her journey, she decided to get fit, and that lady journey, Sieta, what you've been doing, and she's unstoppable now.
Wow.
She's unstoppable. Oh, every day you connect with Sieta. It's really interesting, and you're watching her go down. Every day she'll go, I'm getting rid of my flap jacket. And it's going down. That girl is shrinking.
Brilliant.
Get out there. People don't worry about making for yourself. The best people get knocked. That they will do.
Okay, that's brilliant words of advice. And that don't worry about making it for yourself. No one's going to remember, because if 5 minutes later somebody else is going to do something that people are going to take notice of, and they're going to completely forget what you did or you didn't do.
They actually like you more when you do it. I remember one of the big shots had a TV show, and he'd go on, he'd fix people, and it was all working well. Then he had one that was just a nightmare. She was just such a nightmare to work with. And that was the show that got the highest ratings, because he was struggled a bit. You know, sometimes people, if you fall flat on your face and go, well, they go, oh, you're human, and they like you more. Yeah. So it's not always. Sometimes it works out to be a good thing.
It does. It does. So, as you know, I do guided meditations and angel card readings. So each week I'm going to ask my guests, would they like a mini guided meditation or an angel card for yourself and those watching? So, Anne, what would you like?
Well, earlier I said meditation, but I think you said I've changed my mind. I think the card, yeah.
Okay, we will do an angel card. And those that know, when I do the cards, I don't actually predict the future. Although I work with the past and I work with the future, it's all to actually do with the present. So when I do angel cards, it's always what we need to know for our highest good at this moment in time. So just give me a quick cleanse and bless. So what does Anne and everyone who watches this live and the replay need to know for their highest good at this moment in time? What does Anne and everyone who's watching this live or the replay need to know for their highest good time? Okay, we've got impasse. Reflect and redirect your energy. So let's see if I can get that up at the camera there. See that? Which actually kind of like ties in with what we've actually been talking about. And it's like with everything going on, I think we've got a retrograde as well coming up as well. It is a case of that you should now actually be doing a little bit of reflection. If things aren't going where you think they should be going, then just take that moment just to reflect, to sit down, take the time, write it down, reflect why things aren't working or not going where they should be, and where you think they should be, and actually redirect your energy going in that direction. So yeah, so I think this card is that everyone needs to be aware of now, is that we need to just take a bit of moment. If things aren't going in the right place, just reflect and then redirect and go in a different direction, because you know, it doesn't matter if you change your direction. That is what life is. Life is the flow. And you can change direction like a river, can change direction and it'll come back to where it's supposed to be, but you've just done something different in the end. So yeah, so that's the card for everyone who's watching this live or the replay, and for you, Anne, as well.
Very good. Okay.
So I hope everyone, you've enjoyed this and found it insightful, and that the words of wisdom Anne has given you will help you further on your journey. Now, Anne, if people want to connect with you, how do they do that?
Well, I think most of the people watching probably know my name. So The best place is Facebook, actually. Send me a message via Facebook, Anne Jirsch. Yeah, I think Facebook's a really good place. Or I've got annejirsch.com, my website. So, yeah, you tap my name in, I'll pop up. So you'll find me. I'm quite easy to find.
Excellent. Well, Sieta, who's actually been with us since the beginning, so thank you, Sieta. And I'll have to get in touch with you for maybe you can come on and be interviewed by me. But she said, I really don't care. I am what I am. And like you say, I'm shrinking. Don't shrink to Tom Thumb, though, because we don't really want you being Tom Thumb, because that's a little bit too tiny, I think. So thank you so much for watching, and I would like to invite you to share this video, as I'm sure there are more women who feel lost and want to get clear on their destiny, just like you. And if you need help finding your destiny and getting clear on your path, I would love to be that guide for you. Reach out and connect with me, as I would love to book a free 20-minute session with you to have a quick chat so I can find out more about you and how I can help you on your journey. And by the way, I will see you next Wednesday, the 21st at 8 p.m, where I'll be having a conversation with my guest, Susie Edwards, an intuitive consultant, coach and card reader, about how to find your soul purpose. So thank you, Anne, very much for being here. And I'm going to definitely have you on again. And to everyone else watching, I will see you next Wednesday. Okay, so all take care, and I'll see you soon. Bye.
Thank you.